What's up, people? Today's video is going to be about this, not the head, but the mesh and the kit that comes with it, which would be Throne Fiber. So first off, we're going to talk about these fancy little contraptions that the mesh actually turns up in, which is kind of cool. It kind of reminds me of a Tic Tac container. So it opens up from the top. Your shooter, you'll get three. One will have the mesh in it. It fits perfectly. It's crazy. Mesh in one, your sidewall in another, and the shooters in the next. The way that the shooters come is a shooting nylon, so a nice thick nylon that actually has eyelet. I forget how to pronounce it. But anyway, they have like golden tips on them, so they basically are this long, maybe a little bit longer, and then those tips are going on it, which is kind of cool if that's your thing. I don't really like too fancy of stuff going on my string or anything like that. The laces are just kind of simple. I wouldn't say cotton, but they are very flat. So, coupled with the mesh, and I'll get into it in a second. But coupled with the mesh, it comes out pretty smooth, so it's not too bad. The sidewall comes in one solid piece, one long piece that equals out to roughly four sidewall lengths if you measure it correctly. So the fiber system, as I just said, comes into three pieces: the shooters, the mesh, the sidewalls. But the sidewall's one solid piece, so it's one really long piece. I don't really like that idea. Well, I mean, I understand the concept behind it, but I don't really agree with it. So I cut it up into three symmetrical lengths, and then the rest of it became my bottom string, which is perfectly fine for me. But came in a nice long piece, not too short or anything like that. The string itself seems pretty durable. It singes well enough when you light it. I've had a few incidents with different sidewalls out there, and they kind of just bubble up and just disappear with any heat applied to them, so that's not good. So decent string from the kit. The mesh itself, getting into the fiber mesh here, the weave of this mesh, it closely resembles Hero out there, but if you get really close, you can see slight differences in the weave. So it's definitely not Hero, not the same mesh with a different coating on it or whatever. It has a slightly different weave, so that it'll have a different kind of structure to it, at least strength structure. So since it is I believe either a 15 or a 17 millimeter mesh, it'll string up in pretty much anything that you need. So if you're transferring over from, say, Hero mesh or String King or whatever, it'll pretty much string up exactly the same. This is usually the style of pocket that I put in most burns that I do for people, although obviously depending on what they want, I'll adjust up a diamond or something like that. But for me, this would be relatively the perfect pocket that I would use or I would like. It stretches well. Upon first opening up the packaging, it felt kind of stiff, but also strange. It almost felt like it was coated in plastic, but then I actually started stringing with it and whatnot, and it's pretty nice. I like it. It has good friction points and whatnot. Can hold the ball pretty well. It's not. I want to say it's kind of like a semi-hard, but it's almost like just a semi. Like it's in between hard. It's in between soft. So it's not a huge transition from semi or from hard, semi-soft or hard, but it's kind of an in between. So something that I kind of like. It's definitely an improvement to me from past mesh from Throne. So definitely kudos to them for coming up with something that I actually like, because I mean everything has certain little features that I tend to like, but there are items and products out there that I don't like, but I'll still do reviews of and whatnot. But Throne's definitely come into the fold of, to me, coming out with a really decent product that I would actually wouldn't mind using. Um, Not much really else to say other than I feel that I don't I feel that the mesh is kind of prepared differently. Um, as you can see right here, there's a little throne insignia or throne and fiber insignia that goes on the mesh. Um, I don't know if they tend to fold short or whatever they do with their stringings, but it's always on the 9 diamond end of the mesh, and I string 9 diamond tops, and I don't like having super short next to nothing at the bottom and whatnot. That's about as short as I want my tails to be, or yeah, my tails. And I felt that if I was gonna actually fold on this end and have the little decal at the bottom, I would have had to have done a 10 diamond top, which isn't really conventional for a lot of people. I like 10 diamond tops, but I felt like I needed to do a 9 for the sake of the crowd and whatnot, to kind of show you guys that it could be done with a 9 diamond. So just something that kind of piqued my interest and kind of was a little weird, but whatever floats their boat. But fiber mesh from Throne, definitely a solid purchase if it caters to your style. This would probably be more for the consistency sort of people, like your semi-hard style people. It's definitely not soft enough for face-offs. It's definitely a little stiff. It might break in to where you can use it for face-offs, but you won't be able to use it for face-offs right off the bat. Definitely not. So thanks for watching, guys. That's Fiber from Throne. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you later.